2, 1. Hello, everyone. You're listening to a Coffees with Toffees podcast. I'll be your host, Flubb, and this is the Brewmaster's Draft. With my great co-host, we are going to talk about the new draft that he has come up with. And for the first time, the elusive man himself is now available to be seen, Kimbrell himself. So, Kimbrell, why don't you say hello to the folks?
Hello, everyone. This is my beautiful face, or ugly face, whichever one you want to call it. Yeah, hi.
I'm glad that we finally have a camera for your face now. What are we drinking today, bud? I myself am drinking a Three Floyds Brewery drink again. I love these guys, and it's called Gumball Head. It's a good old wheat beer. So this time we're gonna talk about what we like it at the end, give ourselves a chance to really try out these beers, talk about them a little bit. So, Kimber, what are you drinking today?
I am drinking a local beer. It's from Mustang Brewing Company. It's just American amber lager. It's called 66 is the brand name. I'm assuming for Highway 66, which Route 66, whatever you want to call it, which runs through. But yeah, it's from here in Oklahoma City.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So the classic Route 66. I didn't even realize that. Yeah, like the thing that is in like all the movies when people are driving from east to west. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I know so little about the United States. Whenever I hear about it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's what geography is important for, to know that stuff. All right, that's good. But how's your week been, man?
It's been good. As usual, it's a Monday, but last week was good. Dota wise, it's been okay. Some wins, some losses. You know how that goes. I've actually gone on a decent, I wouldn't say decent, a sad losing streak. But I don't know. I feel like every time you go on a losing streak, there's a winning streak to follow, and vice versa. So I think I'll be okay. But most of my games have been with you, I think. So
yeah, we've been playing a lot together, actually. So for people who don't know, we are kind of like starting a new team and kind of trying different stuff out. We don't actually have all 5 members decided quite yet, but we are now kind of like going into just a fun team that we all know each other from different areas, whether it's other teams or just through .p or other different things that we found each other, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been a learning experience for all of us because we all play the game very differently, and that's always fun whenever you have that interaction between the group. So it's always great to have.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, it's been fun. There's definitely some personality clashes, I would say, here and there, but nothing too bad. Nothing that most Dota teams don't deal with. So
right.
It's been a lot of fun, though. It's been fun learning some things, too. Like, for example, today about Shadow Shaman, the things I learned from you and Fafnir, since I haven't played that hero very much. But yeah, it's been great.
That's like the thing is like we were talking about this before the show, and we've just been like messaging each other back and forth. There's a lot of things about like heroes, especially ones that I've played in original Dota, where I'm like, oh man, if you don't go this certain path, like I'm kind of like stuck in it because I've been playing it for like 9 years, you know. And it's good to see people like mix it up. And there's different trains of thought for it, so there's like that back and forth that's really important to have. And if you can like kind of, as long as people have like a general thought process of like explaining themselves, it's really good to like have that in the team in general. The problem that normally comes up is someone will be like, well, you know, this stuns longer, or this does this, and I'm like, oh, well, yeah, that's your job, but you know, you don't necessarily have to do it that way. And like your build was fine. Like what we were arguing about was I like to have either shock a little bit quicker than Kimbrell did, and it made sense on what he was trying to do because he was trying to be more lockdown effective. So we kind of went back and forth about talking about, you know, what's possible for your team and what you're available to do. And it's a lot of fun, guys, and I encourage that whenever we're drafting, whenever you're drafting with your team outside of the draft, kind of talk about, okay, this is how I run the game, because a lot of times when I'm drafting as a captain, I expect certain heroes to go in a certain path, and if you don't talk about that style-wise, you can't get what the player's really good at doing, and you can't get what they are expected to do out of the draft. So make sure you know what's going on for sure. So Kimbrell, we are going to be talking about your draft today. Let's start this off. What are the heroes you're going to be picking for us today?
Okay, so I actually did this kind of last minute, to be honest. But I remember last week we talked about being that kind of tanky upfront lineup to where you can take that tier 3 instead of taking down all the tier 2s and taking shrines. But now you have to take down the tier 3, then take shrines. So I went with something that I felt like would be able to push pretty well, team fight pretty well, and also get that tier 3 at a decent time where you're able to take the shrines, take Roche, etc., etc. So I went with Slardar, Invoker, Lifestealer, Vengeful, and Beastmaster.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I feel. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good. So what's the order you're gonna be picking these guys in? What are the stylized versions of? Okay, they're gonna counterpick me. What do I need to make sure I get through this draft?
Okay, so I would pick Slardar first, I feel like. And then I think you can kind of like decide between Invoker or Lifestealer second. It just depends on the team you're playing and how they ban, I think. But then following that, I would pick the next either Lifestealer or Invoker, whichever one you didn't pick. Then Vengeful, and then I would save Beastmaster for last. I feel like I've actually seen him a couple times banned and picked today, but overall, I feel like he's not that popular of an offlaner right now. I might be wrong, but that's just what I've noticed.
He's like half and half. It's something that's it's not one of those where it's like it's guaranteed. It's kind of like, oh, this guy's really good at this hero, and Beastmaster's okay, right now. So it's not like, yeah, you're right. If you aren't like top 10% Beastmaster played on your heroes, then it would probably be a safe pick.
Yeah. So, and the reason why I was saving that is if he was either banned or, I mean, there's not much reason to go away from him to the other pick I was thinking of. But if he were to be banned, I would probably pick up like a Legion Commander, but that's beside the point. Anyway, so the main reason why I went with this lineup is you have plenty of initiation. Slardar and Venge will be the supports. I feel like in a lane with a Lifestealer, like that's almost an impossible lane to go up against solo. So either you're going to have to bring a duel and an aggressive duel lane, or a tri lane. I feel like my tri lane would probably beat most tri lanes in that lane. You've got 2 stuns, you've got Slardar who can tank up pretty well, and Lifestealer who obviously has steals health, steals life, whatever. So I feel like that lane would go over pretty well. And then after not very long, Lifestealer is able to be self-dependent, so you're able to gank with smokes, help Beastmaster once he gets 6, either kill the mid hero or go kill the safe lane hero. And it's almost a guarantee. I feel like the Roared hero is dead, whether it's in the lane or in a team fight. That Roared hero is going to be dead. In team fights later after the lane, Slardar is going to have a 6. You roar the carry, whoever you want to roar, Slardar can ult, and that person I feel like just dies. And they're not able to get off BKB, so Invoker is able to do his thing also. If the off lane's contested, I feel like Beast is able to go into the jungle pretty well, and if he needs to go into the jungle, Slardar can rotate to the off lane and take that XP there, and possibly some more creep farm. That way he's able to get a faster blink. Most of his gold can be coming from kills and AoE gold from kills. But yeah.
Yeah, totally.
I just felt like it was... Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good. So when you're doing this draft and you're going into it, I was curious. So you pick Life Stealer in the first phase, or is that just because you want to, because he's so popular right now, and you're just trying to get him? And there's, because there are some counters, some serious counters to Life Stealer, and
Yeah,
it's kind of hard to generally like, okay, we're gonna go for a Life Stealer draft, then they won't pick tanky guys to really give that potential of what he does, you know. So, what's your when you're thinking about this, like, why the Life Stealer so early? Is it just because you don't want it banned out, pretty much?
I mean, yeah, he's been. I feel like every game I've been able to sneak in today at work,
Yeah,
he's been in the game or banned. So I feel like he is really popular. He is countered, like you said. But also, there's a little bit of bias when I was on the Devils team. There were so many games we just first picked Lifestealer Slardar, and like we would just win. That combo for some reason worked really well for us, so it's just kind of a bias as well.
yeah, and you go with what's comfortable. A lot of times when you're going for drafts, and you go off of what the players that you used to play with for sure. So I totally understand that. The thing is so let's say at this point you're taking this draft and you got that Slardar pick. They didn't ban that out. They do ban that Life Stealer out. What's the hero that you want to put in there for that Life Stealer in this situation?
That's a good question. I feel like there's a variety of different heroes. I think like the main reason why I picked the Life Stealer was once you get to a point where you're able to team fight and you're able to push,
Mhm.
you have the. Uh, I couldn't decide between Quaswex or an Exhort Invoker. I felt like Quaswex would be good for you got the Beastmaster aura and the alacrity to go with your Deso Lifestealer. But the main reason why I picked it is you have the Deso and you're able to push faster and you've got this crazy attack speed. So I feel like a Wraith King would be okay.
Interesting.
A Juggernaut would be okay. I think he doesn't give Deso, but he's able to push well.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I think there's other picks if Lifestealer banned out. I like Dragon Knight would be okay.
See,
I'm just kind of going through heroes.
I like Jug the best. Jug's the
Yeah,
one.
Jug's the healing ward is like it's just stupid, like stupid good whenever you're pushing. So Jug would be great.
Plus Omni
I just
Slash on top of anybody that's corrosive haze is just so much damage and it's just so much
yeah.
potential. So I do the one thing I've noticed about your draft so far is the idea of trying to do all this single target pick off. So there's a
Mhm.
lot of potential that you have on just like, okay, that guy's dead. That guy's dead. Um, is there what if there's a hero that you could kind of take out to kind of make it more of a team fight draft? Because you need to have some more team fight to shore up, like they pick Warlock Timbersaw or something together, and you need something to
Mhm.
be able to counteract it just a little bit. What would you pick up? What would you take out of this draft?
I'd probably take out the Vengeful. I think.
Hmm.
Swap's a good spell, obviously, but I feel like with Beastmaster, you have already a pretty solid single target thing. Um, so yeah, I think I would take out the Venge and possibly replace it with something else. I'm not quite sure what, like maybe a Venomancer, or I'm not sure actually. There's plenty of ways you can go with that, but yeah, I think Venge will be the one that I would get rid of.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of things that you could do. You could go with like a Lesh, or you could go with, I don't know. There's a couple other ones that I would definitely suggest.
Yeah, I feel
There's
like
like,
Earth Spirit would be good if you know how to play him. I don't, you do, but
oh
so I
yeah,
think Earth Spirit would be pretty good.
oh yeah, I love me some Earth Spirit, and I really like Earth Spirit Lifestealer too. It's a hell of a combo right now, and
Yeah.
if you can get that delivery system, it's a lot of fun. So that was the one thing I saw about your draft. I was like, oh yeah, all of that makes sense. Everything goes in. The only thing that I see is like you have to have Slaughter as your only delivery system, and I was like, ooh, that would be tough. But the thing is Slaughter is the delivery system, so there is that, and you can probably get a Blink Dagger at a reasonable time. And then if you take out the Venge though, and you put in an Earth Spirit, then you have Earth Spirit Slaughter, and then you have two melee supports. So
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a tough decision. I actually think that, like, I think you're right. ES would be a great way to, like, kind of help out this draft in general and kind of just help out the situation. Not that it needs it. It's got crazy potential for the single target damage. The Earth Spirit into Slardar, I think that's what I would change, actually. Like, it's super nice to get that. I mean, Slardar's crazy good right now, but it's super nice to have something that is a little bit more effective in an AoE and kind of gives the team a little bit more of a multiple facet of what the support does. Because, like, supports, you want them to not only be able to stun and silence and slow and do a dot damage, and he has all of that in his arsenal. So, yeah, obviously he's picked up for a reason right now, and it's hard to, like, say Slardar is the one that I would take out, but he's also the one that's probably gonna be banned. Let's be honest, him and freaking LD. It's hard to do drafts around them right now.
Yeah. But yeah,
that's cool though, man. So, what are you worried about then? You got all this single target. You got all this armor reduction. You got all these ways to get through this. What's the style that you're gonna get in and try to band out? What heroes are you gonna have problems with?
Okay, so the first ban is the hero with the highest win rate right now in the last week. Also really good against Beastmaster ult. Any stun, it'd be Abbadon. I feel like that's just a good hero right now. I'm not very good at him support, but yeah, Abbadon would be the first ban. And then I felt like there's not much creep clear, or not creep, whatever you want to call it, illusion clear with the team that I have. So Terrorblade would probably be another ban. I feel like he's pretty decent right now. I thought about CK, but I feel like he takes, I might be wrong, I feel like he takes a little bit longer to come online, or at least get items to where he's effective. Like I said, I might be wrong. But he does have that talent where it's like he's able to farm faster, because I think it's gold. I think he gets a gold talent as well. Yeah. So it's if he's like contested in lane, like it doesn't matter, because he gets that talent at like level 15 or something, I think. So
right. The thing is, though, is like you're saying, he does come online not really slower, but the thing is he gets a kind of a talent where, you know, he gets that taken out, and then he also has the ability, Terrorblade just, you know, the metamorphosis is just so much damage with his illusions and everything. Yeah. Whereas, like you're kind of hinting at, where CK, that's his ultimate, man. That's, I mean, I guess you could say that Terrorblade's ultimate is the ability to metamorphose, but the feeling that has, the potential that has, is just a little bit stronger than what CK offers. Now, yeah, you may have some trouble with him, but at least you can pick off the CK too. You can like ignore his tankiness with your line.
Right.
So.
Besides, so after the Terrorblade, I went with Underlord and Dazzle. I thought about Wyvern, but she's not a popular pick right now, and we were just talking about Dazzle last week. I think the hero's good. And then something that defends high ground pretty well, I put Sniper. I feel like you can go any way with that, depending on what the other team needs. You can go with Sniper, kotl, something like that. I think kotl's also good against some of those heroes, but I put Sniper down just because I know it's like awful pushing high ground versus that hero. Yeah. Especially if you don't have, like, if your only blink initiation is Slardar, like, you're going to struggle trying to get onto a Sniper. Mm-hmm. But then you have a swap, so that's the only plus side.
Right. So you got the kotl, the Terrorblade, the Sniper. You had Dazzle as one of yours. You're just doing that just because of the single target damage, right? You can't really get through his potential.
Right, yeah. Okay. It's kind of like Abbadon a little bit. It's harder to, he just makes people harder to kill, especially with all the single target, and he's got Grave. If he gets a Grave off like perfectly at the right time, he's able to, you know, a hero's able to walk away.
Interesting. Okay. So I think what I would do versus this draft, because I mean, Beastmaster does have some potential to clear if you build more towards his axes and go a little bit less into pushing, and then you kind of go more into pick off and kind of prevent the ability to push with illusions. So you could use axes, and then Invoker generally clears stuff out. So I don't necessarily think that that's going to be too bad. I wouldn't necessarily pick illusions versus you. I think what I would try to do is pick like giant AoE team fight, like maybe a potential of Timbersaw and Warlock. Those like, I know I just said that earlier, and like I love what Ice did in the game, and I've been still freaking out about their win in general versus TNC. They first picked those two heroes, and they just work so well together, man. It is incredibly hard to stop that, even with the Lifestealer. And Lifestealer does really well versus a Timbersaw. So it's interesting. Your draft kind of would work against that, but at the same time, if you get like so much AoE and then like force them on your terms, then it'd kind of have a weak point in that area, because you're so much about that single target damage, and you can blow up even the tankiest of heroes. But if you have just everyone blows up everything in that area, get like Jakiro, and the thing is though, is you have a Vengeful, so I can't pick up the Enigma, which is really smart. Or if I did pick up the Enigma, then I'd just be screwed. So there's still, it's not like it's like super counterable or anything. I think that your draft has a lot of potential. It's just the best way to stop that single target damage is to force people to fight around your terms and then go into team fights. Because the setup on how your lineup goes, really the only guy that can split push, well, actually, I guess you got Beastmaster and Invoker. Huh.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was about to. I was kind of waiting for you to finish.
Yeah.
How you do have two heroes that are able to split push. Now, if you went the Quas Wex, it's a little harder, I think, as Invoker. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't play that hero, but you could. That's kind of why I had trouble deciding between the Quas Wex or the Exhort build. But I think, yeah, I mean, it gives you two heroes to split push with. So, like, team fighting would definitely be a problem. But if you're able to at least get that Invoker or Beastmaster split pushing, like, you're able to take down towers still, especially if you're needing to commit a decent amount of your heroes for your team fight.
Yeah.
Now, like, the Warlock Timbersaw, like, I mean, I feel like you could just have those two heroes and do a decent amount of damage. It's kind of like the back when Murano was really popular. Like, that was crazy, the amount of damage that put out. I feel like it's a little similar, not obviously the same, but it's similar.
Yeah, it is. And there's a lot of potential that you have in general. I think that the best way to stop it is right. Like, if you take out the ability for that initiation that you have on your team with an Abbadon, that is probably that was the ban that I was like, oh man, I didn't even think of that. That is an amazing idea, because he not only just exists and you can't combo him out. If played correctly, like, you can even, like, I thought the best thing about your draft is that not only do you have all this minus armor, and with Exort, if you went Exort, you could have the potential of also getting all that attack speed on the minus armor, and then having the pick off with just Beastmaster running around. I scream a guy, I axe him, and then a freaking Sunstrike comes out of nowhere and kills the guy, finishes him up from there. So the pick-off potential is just insane, and it's a lot of fun to play that. You know me, I like that roaming style, so I really enjoy that. Is there anything that you feel like, as you're looking through this draft, as you're like kind of talking to me, is there anything that you're like, okay, what is the thing that kind of feels like I could maybe move without? I could kind of take this piece. This is the piece that I have to base it around. Is it Beastmaster? Is it Invoker? Like, what's the thing that, like, I have to make sure I get this in this draft?
That's a good question. I feel like it's the Beastmaster. Like, I know that, like I said earlier, we kind of discussed about how he's not highly contested, but he's kind of in that mid-range. I feel like he kind of brings this draft together. once you get 6, you're able to smoke, whether you're smoking as a team or just smoking as Beastmaster. Like I feel like that's almost a guaranteed mid tower. So if you smoke up your Beastmaster and your 2 supports and you go mid and you commit 4 heroes mid, you kill the mid hero. The supports can't really rotate to that because Invoker's just going to kill them. You don't want to rotate your carry. I guess you could rotate your offlane and your supports. It just kind of depends on the heroes you have, but I feel like that's almost a guaranteed kill and tower with the Beastmaster push, the Invoker push, and then Lifestealer and Vengeful. So
Totally. Okay. So, all right. So we got the picking order. We got the bands that you're going to be going through. What are the items that you're going to be wanting on this draft? What are the things that kind of tie it all together? Whether it's that you're going to be going up against, let's say you're going up against that AoE draft style. What are the things that you want to have on these heroes that make this draft viable?
Okay, so I'm going to start with Invoker because that's the hero that I don't know very well, and I asked Kai Rai what he typically builds on a Quaswet Invoker, since that's the one I kind of decided to go with, but Exhort's, a little different.
Right.
He said typically he goes with the Phase Wand and then gets a Midas, and then goes Orchid, Ags, and then the defensive item BKB or Lincolns, and then Octarine. So you could just start out with Phase and Wand, and then eventually Midas. With Slardar,
that's interesting that he goes that build, because a lot of times that build is for the Exort build. He doesn't even go the Silent Staff. That's interesting.
he does after Midas.
So he goes. I'm sorry. So he goes Midas into. So he goes Boots, Midas, Silent Staff, and then Ags.
Yeah, this is what. Yeah, he said. I lately go Phase, Boots, Wand, Midas, Orchid, Ags, and then the defensive item, and then Octarine.
Oh, okay.
So.
Okay, my bad. All right, gotcha. That makes sense.
Okay.
I was gonna say, I was like, wait, why would he skip that silence? That's like super important. But okay, we're good.
Slardar, I feel like Tranquils on him is pretty standard as a support. I might be wrong.
Oh yeah,
that's what I usually go.
No, it's 100% the way for sure.
Yeah, it just adds that extra movement speed along with your movement speed skill. I forget the names of his skills all the time.
The sprint and
sprint.
Okay. Crush. Yeah, that's
cool. And then Blink, I feel like that's the most important item on that hero. And then after that, I think you're able to, just depending on the matchup, you're able to kind of change up what you need. Typically, I like going with the Blink, and then I wouldn't say Blade Mail. Usually Lotus Orb. I like because you're initiating, and then they're gonna try to throw things on you. And so with the Lotus, it's kind of nice to have, or the Blade Mail, either one. And then after that, with Lifestealer, Phase, Echo, I don't know. I feel like, what is the item called? I'm having a brain fart.
Brain fart.
Right now. Yeah. What is it called? It used to be a lifesteal item. It's not anymore.
Helm of the Dominator.
Helm, jeez, man.
Yeah,
Helm of the Dominator. I feel like that item's like good on so many heroes right now, but sometimes I'm not sure if you would pick it up, especially on the Lifestealer.
I think someone on the team has to have it, and that's probably the best person to have it. Maybe you could put it on Beastmaster. I don't know.
Possibly, yeah. So I feel like the Helm on Lifestealer, and then along with the Phase, Echo, and then the Deso. And the Deso kind of brings it together. You can go Armlet. I know a lot of people that kind of skip it depending on what you're up against. Like, there's been times I've skipped it against Necros or something like that. It's just, I don't like toggling against Dot like that, or just the damage over time, or not. Anyway, so I would put that before the Echo Saber if you did go Armlet. And then with the Vengeful, I think an Aether Lens is good. 4 Staff or Glimmer Cape, just your typical Vengeful type of build.
I like Aether Lens, but I like Aether Lens later. I'm kind of a weird guy like that. I don't know. I prefer the ability to force staff because if I swap, I can then force staff myself out and then hopefully save us both. I know the like range on it's so good in the beginning and helps you out with all your spells, but I don't know. I That's kind of just my view on it. Maybe like you go the mana boots, force staff, and then after you have like that mana already kind of established for the team for a while, and then when they like have that ability to get on later, because after you get force staff, people generally have like the mana items to stay relevant, right? So
Yeah, I've actually playing support recently. I've been enjoying picking up mana boots and then turning it into an Aether depending on the hero. Like Lion yesterday, it's kind of off topic, but I picked up mana boots, and I typically don't do that. But he's a hero that sometimes needs that burst of mana instead of being able to use your mana drain while they're stunned or something like that. That way you can finger somebody like immediately after using both your skills.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it just kind of felt nice because it built right into the Aether, and then I was able to go into. I think I went back into Arcanes, but you're able to go into Tranquils if you need them or whatever you need. So
yeah.
But anyway, and then with the Beastmaster, I think you would go Necro, like Necro 2, and then you can get your Blink, or you can finish your Necro 3, just depending on what you need. I was thinking about earlier, I was kind of theory crafting how if you're talking about Enigma, right? And say Beastmaster by himself, he's the only way to interrupt the black hole. There's just kind of, like I said, this is kind of theory crafting, but like you have the Vengeful and stuff.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm saying like, hypothetically, say Beastmaster is your only initiation, right? He's your only way to interrupt a black hole or something similar.
Okay.
I was thinking about how after, or maybe not even after Blink, before Blink, how like an Aether Lens, since we were just talking about that item, would work on him. But I'm not sure if it would be ideal. I feel like he needs a decent amount of slots for like the Blink, the Necro Book, the boots, and then maybe like a Refresher or Shivas or whatever.
Yeah.
But I was just curious. I was just wondering about like an Aether Lens on Beastmaster, like how that would go over, because his range is already pretty solid with Roar, and then you're adding on top of, I don't know. Anyway, I'm just theory crafting. But yeah, it would just be the Necro Books and Blink and Tranquils on him.
Right.
But yeah, so yeah, that's the build.
I think it'd be cool. The thing is you can't really like change how you summon creatures. If you could like summon them further up, if you got Aether Lens, I think that'd be actually worth it, because then you could kind of like manipulate on how you summon creatures. The thing is though, is that spell amplification isn't getting that much out of it, and you really need to be able to be the potential of that split push that we were talking about earlier. So I think that it'd almost kind of slow you down a little bit too much for the Necro Books. But it's a good idea. I think that the health regen would be helpful, and having that extra mana on him would be pretty nice, because he has a lot of mana troubles, and if you don't have like two supports with mana boots, he kind of like he has to like run over to the shrines constantly. So yeah, that makes sense. So we got our initiator as, so with the Beastmaster though, you're grabbing Blink early, so we have like 2 Blinks coming out pretty much, so you have to get those pickoffs, right?
I don't think Blink on Beastmaster is like, I don't think it's essential, especially if you have a Blink on Slardar or something. I've just seen a lot of people go like Necro 2 and then get the Blink and then finish Necro 3. I like the item on him.
I think that if you go for that helm early, give him the, like, you're going for that split push build anyway, right? Not even going for the axes, you're going for that attack damage. It's kind of like a early, quote unquote, early Necro Book, and you could kind of push down towers in the split push way easier than you could before, giving that early potential.
Yeah, I really like that actually, because he already has an aura that, attack speed aura, and then with the helm, it adds on to it, and you're able to split push even more, and then go into Necro. Like, you don't even need to, like, you're just able to, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, because you got the heal. Yeah, you got the heal too. Like, it's Tranquils are so great because they give the move speed, but it's also so great because he just needs the health regen constantly to like exist in lane. So I wonder if you could maybe go Helm and then go Mana Boots and kind of like create what you were talking about before. Kind of give yourself the health regen through the ability of having that item that gives you another creep that just like makes you push really hard. It'd be interesting. It'd be really cool. I'm liking this. I'm liking this. So if you're going for this push style on Beastmaster, and you're going for Invoker to be more of a ganking style, are you going to be... The thing is, are you going to be trying to initiate with Invoker then, and a Slardar? Because you got the Quas Wex, you can kind of go invisible and then sneak up on top of someone. Use that as a delivery mechanism just as much as Slardar then.
Yeah, that's another thing I had written down was Quas Wex allows you to have another vehicle for Lifestealer. It's not as ideal, I think, as Slardar, since the Slardar is so instant, but it allows another vehicle. And another reason why I like the Quas Wex is I feel like when you initiate a Slardar or Beastmaster, and then you have people converging on you, Tornado is such a good spell,
Oh, yeah.
especially after level 25. But you're able to like reinitiate essentially. Like they're all converging because their carry is roared, and you're killing them like almost, I wouldn't say instantly, but pretty damn fast. The rest of their team is trying to converge, save a carry, etc., etc. Well, then you have Tornado and EMP and all that, all of that to back it up. So
Fantastic disengage for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. So all right, so we're going for these draft. We got the draft. We got the items. So what are you going to be building on them style wise? So we already know that Invoker is going to be going for the Quas Wex style. How's the other heroes going to be building in this draft? What are the skills that you find more important?
I like your point about the Beastmaster axes, but I think I would still go, especially if you're contested. Like axes are fine to jungle with, I think, but
Yeah.
if you're contested in the off lane, I think going the aura and your creeps, the boar, I feel like that's probably the better way to go.
Mm-hmm.
With Slardar, I feel like you don't really skill as bash as a support. Like you do eventually, but early, it's usually the sprint and the crush. At least that's what I've always done, and I've had decent success with it, I think.
Oh yeah.
And then Lifestealer, I'm not really sure. I don't play that hero a ton. I feel like he's pretty straightforward with this build. In that lane, I think you only need one skill in his. Is it Infest? No, Infest is all.
Feast.
In Feast.
Yeah, Feast is his lifesteal one, if that's what you're talking about. Or
the extra the slow that adds the extra lifesteal.
That's inflict wounds. Yeah, or
dude. But yeah, I would feel like you would only need like one in that one, unless your lane's just like really bad. But it shouldn't be with those two heroes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then who did I not talk about? Vengeful. I feel like it's like never a thing to not max your stun as a support Vengeful. I might be wrong, but I'm always maxing my stun, and then the armor comes with the stun. I feel like her passive is great if she's a carry, and as a support, it's fine. But early, I don't feel like it's all that great when you can have the minus armor plus the max stun nuke damage.
Right. Now, I'm a little curious. Would you ever? A lot of times people don't do this. I don't think it's necessarily the way to do it for this one, but there's some people who like to, especially if you're going with like a Luna, you'll pick up an early point of the aura. Do you like that style in this draft? Because you have the attack speed from, because you said you weren't going the axes, you're going that attack speed. you wanting the aura
Right.
more, or are you wanting the scream, or are you wanting that stun damage? Obviously, you said you wanted to max that stun, but what are you going to go after that? You going to go the
Um.
aura or the minus armor? Because minus armor is good too, man. You got a lot of minus
Yeah.
armor.
Why are you doing this to me? I mean, that's a good question. Like, I feel like it kind of. I mean, it kind of depends on what you're up against. I think. I don't know, because the auras. I mean, doubling those auras, especially if you're maxing that one after the stun,
Hmm.
that could be pretty good if you're wanting to push early, which is kind of what I'm not necessarily early, but around the 20-minute mark. Like, I feel like you're wanting to push at least past their tier twos.
Right, right.
Um,
You need to get something
so
done because
right,
the life stealer, though strong, is not as strong as something like a Spectre, or obviously like Spectre's not like super popular right now, but the later game heroes obviously makes sense.
right.
Um,
So yeah, I think either. I think with. I think you would want to go with the armor.
mhm.
Just thinking about it, because you're wanting to pick off, and so the faster you can kill somebody, it doesn't really matter because then you get damage with your aura. I don't know, dude.
See,
You're
for
asking
me,
me the hard questions.
oh yeah, I got to, man. I gotta quiz you constantly, man. That's the idea of the game. I gotta make it hard on you. Gotta put you through hellfire. But
See, this is what goes wrong in games. Is like I'm thinking, okay, well, if I do this, like I theory craft in the middle of games instead of just doing, I think, and I've had that problem with sports as well. So like yesterday when we were talking about Shadow Shaman, I was thinking I'm gonna skill Hex because that allows us to hit him more times and our Weaver to hit him with bugs on him even more times. So he's gonna die faster. But no, never mind. Shadow Shaman's nuke is 140 damage. What the hell am I thinking? Like, that's a great idea. I should be skilling that instead. But I'm in the middle of the game, theory crafting, thinking, well, I
yeah.
can do this and do that, and it's anyway, go on.
No. That's perfect. That gets into the heart of what we're doing here. Is that a lot of times people kind of go back and forth in the middle of the game, and that's actually something I encourage. Is if you get that ability to theory craft in the middle of a game, you can kind of go into a position where you're never really behind on a certain point, and that's what you're doing anyway the entire time, is theory crafting the entire game with items and your build in general, so that you can get the maximum damage of what your team offers. And it does make sense that you wanted to lock them down, because we also drafted me as a Monkey King as a roaming support, and if you're going as Monkey King, they have that potential to lock someone down, to just punch the crap out of them, and then, oh my god, Monkey King hits for like thousands of damage, and is just a silly hero. So there's that idea in practice, and it's something that we want to always strive for. It's just like I do this too, man. Is that I'll like, okay, we got this idea, we have this thing going, but it's like, well, is that really what the hero's supposed to do in this situation? And it kind of becomes a funny thing that that we don't normally think about when in that situation, because you're thinking about 15 things already. So yeah, yeah. Um, so we got this build, we got the items, we got the picks for what this hero setup is. What are you feeling as a captain? What are the most what are the things that you're going to tell the fans, that what do you need to look out for them banning for you? Like, what is a way that you can kind of tilt this draft into a perspective of, you know, maybe working out for you? Because Slardar kind of seems like an important piece of this, and he's going to be someone that's banned. So what would you switch out for Slardar? Let's say they ban Slardar and Lifestealer. What draft are you going to do at this point?
Okay, so Slardar and Lifestealer. See, why are
Yeah.
you doing this to me? All right. I mean, if you're wanting to stick with the other three heroes and go with the same thing, we talked about Juggernaut.
Mhm.
I feel like Juggernaut would be great.
He
And
does
then as your
offer
second,
he does offer the magic immunity and the push ability that you're wanting it to begin with. So it makes
Yeah.
sense.
And there's so many different ways you can take it. Instead, you can move the Beastmaster to jungle, and you can have a Legion Commander, or you can have a not a Chaos Knight, a Centaur Warrunner, or something like that. Or you could leave Beastmaster in the off lane and go with your second support as like a I don't even know, like
I think
maybe a
Centaur's
Shadow Demon or like a Sand King or something like that. But I like the idea of running Beastmaster jungle,
Mm-hmm.
and then having
Sand King could be strong. Obviously, he has that potential of being somewhat tanky and is another delivering mechanism. So obviously, I understand what you're saying there with the stun and offers.
a lot. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, and offers team fight. Like that's one of the things that I didn't think about. You know, it's another stun, another guy that offers that ability to even get in there quicker, sooner. Because like you don't even need the blink technically if you can get a good stun and get into him like before the 10-minute mark. You can kind of push him as a delivering mechanism even easier as Slardar. So I think that's it. I think Sand King and Jug. I think you got this draft all wrapped up, bud.
Yeah, I actually like Sand King. When you're talking about it, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, sick. We're going to TI. We got the best drafts.
Oh yeah, we got this. we're just constant like this. This show is just about getting out all of our drafts, and then people are like, oh, they talked about that on Brewmasters. Well, we know why they're at TI now. So. All right, so we're gonna go into actually the alt pick again. Is there any talents you want to talk about, Kimbrell, in general, that you think that are crucial to this draft? I didn't. They kind of went a little too long last week, guys, and we're gonna like kind of skip over that. We're gonna go into the alt pick thing this week. So, Kimbrell, do you have anything that you want to talk about real quick about talents?
No, not really. I actually don't even know what Beastmaster's talents are, to be honest with you. I haven't played him since the update. I love the hero, but I haven't played him. But no, I don't think there's any talents that I really need to go over.
Okay. All right, that's cool. So real quick, since Kimbrell did the captain's mode draft, we are generally going to switch over to my side of the things and go into what I've been picking in all pick lately, kind of something that you would maybe want to look out for in general. So something that I think that has been very strong a lot of times in my pubs has been kotl. Kotl has been incredibly strong, and there's good reason to it. You've seen him picked up a lot of times in the majors already. He has the potential of doing way more than he used to. His general build that I go on him is actually a little bit different than what the pros are doing right now. Because the pros are using him as a harassment tool, and kind of, if you watch Demon a lot of times, he was giving himself mana and then blasting out people to force them out of lane. In pubs, a lot of times they don't have the potential of trying to draft against it, especially if you pick it like second or third. You can kind of annoy their offlaners, and you can mana leak them, and a lot of times they won't have Abbadons or the guys that will like generally be like, okay, well you mana leaked me, okay, I'm just gonna get rid of this type of feel. So generally I pick up one level of mana leak early as my level 1, then go into my chakra mana just so I have that balance of being able to keep people up. And I actually, the funny thing is I actually get a clarity early, and I mana my mana chakra, my carry. If you mana chakra your carry and let him be the one who's spamming stuff out, it actually gives that lane a more of a potential attack damage. And if you actually at level 3 level your mana chakra to level 2, its potential, its reach is so strong, and it offers so much mana destruction that they can't really do anything in lane. They're forced to go into the jungle or die, like every single time. It's insane. So if you're ever going in a support type situation and you feel like there's something that needs to offer, I would suggest going down this build for kotl. If you, from that point, you generally want to try to keep that mana at level 1, or you can get it up to level 2, but you kind of want to start leveling your wave at that point. Level 2 mana chakram is good for a while. You can get some into I'm sorry. You want to keep your mana chakram at level 1. You want mana leak at level 2. So if you're gonna have that style of play, try to also pick up maybe mana boots so that you can get that potential of helping other people out. It helps way more in pub games than it does in pro games, and there's a more of a potential of being able to be that extra sacrificial type player, which I personally love to be. So yeah, that's my tip for you guys on all pick this week. Is there anything you want to talk about that hero, Kimbrell?
Is a good hero. I actually haven't played him a lot recently. I used to play him a decent amount. Yeah, I like him a lot. There was actually, this is sort of on topic. There was a game I was watching earlier. I really don't remember who it was. I was just trying to sneak it at work, you know.
Oh yeah.
But AM had grabbed the dude, I'm having all kinds of brain farts today. We should stop doing this on Mondays, actually. The rune, the pink rune.
Arcane.
Yeah, okay. So he picked up the arcane rune, and then Keeper gave him chakra, right? So his blink is just stupid. Like it's like a 2 or 3. I don't want to do the math, but I think it was like a 2 or 3 second cooldown. So he blinked, and as the other team was running away, he was able to blink again almost immediately, and then abyssal somebody and just kill him immediately. And it was just kind of crazy to me, like how that chakra magic adds the cooldown reduction, and then you have the arcane rune. It's just, I don't know. It's just crazy to me. Chakra magic is it's a good spell. And then
it is,
like you said, the illuminate. I hate in lane. Like you've got a kotl in lane, but he's kind of off on the side and you can't really see him. And then his illuminate comes out of nowhere and just hits you as a support, and you're just like, oh god, that's like half of my HP, please. But yeah, and then I think with his spirit form, like the TP, the recall or whatever the skill's called is really, really good, especially with certain heroes. There was like an Ember Spirit or something like that, somebody that's very mobile. Like it's super good because they're able to be all over the map. I've seen a lineup, again, I don't remember where, or if it was a game recently that was like an IO kotl, and that sounds like a really weak support duo, but they were all over the map. And it's just, anyway, I like the hero. It's really good.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point. Obviously, he also gives a lot of potential for split pushing and stylized play like that. The thing about him is a lot of times that people don't really understand is that you also want to rush the ability to get the ags up as soon as possible. The mech build is kind of a dead end build at this point, and getting that ags potential, just the amount of heal that comes out is incredible, and the buff that happened a couple patches ago to his ability to push people away even further is something that you should not keep as a back foot idea. It's a really big deal to be able to push people, and maneuverability is the name of the game in Dota. So just having that extra even 100 pushback is crazy good, especially obviously with the mana leak. So
yeah, going into that a little bit more. There's so many plays you can make with the hero too, with the mana leak and then the pushback, and then if you have a force staff yourself, you force staff the person, and then if another teammate has it's just stupid the amount of mana that they lose with the force staffs and the knockback. So
oh yeah, and well, it's also really funny too because, like you're saying, with force staff, that's like the most popular item right now with Hurricane Pike. So if you have a way to like cancel what's good about Hurricane Pike, makes it even better, right?
Yeah. One hero, obviously, I think think it's kind of obvious. The ban against kotl, I would say, is definitely Night Stalker, like that hero. I mean, obviously, it cancels out his ags, essentially. Not altogether, but the vision from his ags, it completely cancels. Night Stalker completely cancels that out.
And
so
the heal.
I think that's...
And the heal, man.
Yeah, and the heal. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Very, 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 very good way to stop out kotl, and it's a very good point. So that kind of ends our show today. So I'm going to go into the closeout, guys. To help us out, you can subscribe to any of our videos, and you can find them at our Twitch channel. Oh, my bad. Kimbrell just kind of showed on the camera. I am so silly. So before we close out, we need to rate these beers. I was just enjoying them so much, I forgot to rate them. So, Kimbrell, why don't you go with your beer real quick? How do you rate your beer?
I would give it a 5. I got this from an Oklahoma liquor store on my way home. If anybody knows Oklahoma, they know we have shitty liquor laws, and that the beer is not cold when you pick it up from a liquor store.
Wait, what?
So yeah, dude, it's stupid. I'm 99% sure they've approved it where liquor stores can start cooling their beer and wine and such like that. But as of right now, wine and beer is not cooled when you get it from a liquor store. Gas station, sure, but since it's a higher point in a liquor store, not cooled. So I brought this home. I was like, I don't have time to put it in the freezer. I'm gonna drink it a little bit. It's not like warm, but it's not cold, and I'm still enjoying it. So I'm giving it a 5 out of 5 thunderclaps.
Yeah, that is a hell of a rating for a beer. If warm beer, man, I can't do that. Like, I go to the store and everything's cold, man. Like, everything's cold in Indiana.
Yeah, so. Dude, it sucks. When I lived in Kansas for a little bit, and it was amazing. The liquor stores were open till 11. Here it's 9, and everything was cold. Here it's not. It's just like,
wait, they're open till 9.
Yeah, dude. Oklahoma's terrible.
I can get it 24/7. The only thing I can't do is on Sundays because we're like super religious around here. So that's funny.
I could go. Yeah, Sundays is like you can get a single drink at like a restaurant, but you can't buy like a huge vault. You can't buy like liquor.
Yeah, same with us.
Whatever. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So anyway, how would you rate your beer?
All right, so my beer is, once again, actually I've heard a lot about this beer. People around here talk about it quite a bit, and they have it at a lot of different restaurants. It's actually my first time trying it, or at least first time in a while, because I don't really remember. But this beer is really good. It actually, I don't know a lot about beer, but the thing is I know that the bitters are not normally this strong in a wheat beer, which kind of makes it a new taste for a wheat beer, and I really like it. It's not as like hard hitting, but it has that like that natural beer flavor that wheat kind of sometimes misses. So I'm gonna actually give this a 4.5 thunderclaps. If we can do a half of a thunderclap, give it like half damage or whatever. Brewmaster brought in 8 ones, man. There you go. We're all good. So 4.5 thunderclaps. I really enjoyed this beer, and I really suggest anybody that's in the Indiana area to pick this up. I think it's in some other places as well. Reading it real quick, but I know it's really popular around here. So, all right, cool. Well, am I forgetting anything, Kimbrell? I don't want to forget anything at this point.
All right, so I'll let you do the sign out, but I'm just going to go ahead and throw out all the sellout stuff. You can find us on Stitcher, iTunes, and SoundCloud at I believe it's Coffees with Toffees, and it's the W/, so it's not like with. It might work with just a with, I'm not sure, and then YouTube is 5 Gaming, and then Twitch, if you're watching now, you know where to find us. If not, it's Toffees_Dota2. And then go ahead and do your sign out.
Well, he basically did most of our sign out. So, I mean, obviously he already did the Twitch, the YouTube. We got the likes on, if you ever want to listen to our podcast instead of seeing us all on video. We generally are talking about everything, announcing everything anyway. So, we got Stitcher, iTunes, and SoundCloud. If you want to, give to our Patreon. Our Patreon has actually just been updated. A lot of little funny little things that have been going on. You can be an support, an off lane, a carry. There's many different titles that you can have for it, so it's a lot of fun. And it gives to all of us here. We're all part of the same organization. It's not just Toffees, but you can actually give to it at www.patreon.com/Toffees. So it gets to all of us. If you have any questions for Toffees, me, or Kimbrell, you can follow us at Toffees TV on his Twitter. You can follow me on my Twitter at Flubb. You can follow Kimbrell at skimbrell. It's at skimbrell _, right?
There you go. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I always forget that little tail at the end. And then we got, if you ever have any questions for me throughout the week, or if any like casting gigs that you want me to do in general, you can always send them to crazyflubb@gmail.com. Well, I'm glad that you guys were able to sit down and have a beer with us today, and I hope that you have learned something new about the drafts. We'll catch you guys next week. See you later.
Bye.